Hi everyone, just a quick heads up. It's obvious that most people would want us to look at all four different AI agents at the same time, which is not bad, which is very good. Which is very good. I use all four as well. But I also want to give you guys a heads up on what it's going to look like before Saturday so we can get prepared and have everything set up before that day. So what I'll do is that I'll create a video on how to set all these different agents up. So I'll send that video out once it's ready. I can do that either today or tomorrow whenever I'm free. I'll send that video out. So if you want to use just Claude, make sure you follow the process on how to set Claude up. If you want to use Claude, Hermes, any of those ones you want to use, make sure you follow the process on how to set them up. And I'll try as much as possible not to make it technical. I apologize for the last training saying that it was a bit technical, even though I tried to see if I could take out some of the technicalities. But I'll try as much as possible to make this time around a whole lot easier for you to do. So what I actually have in mind is that we'll use this AI agent to set them up. So you don't need to understand how it works. You don't need to know how to go to the terminal or do anything yourself. The agent will do all the setup for us. So if you already have Claude subscription or if you had ChatGPT subscription, we can either use Claude or you can use Codex to set up everything we want to set up. So just make sure you follow along while the setup is in process. Then we can use them. If you want to have all four agents, it's up to you. Just set them up before Saturday so we can just focus on looking at different use cases on Saturday instead of thinking about setting things up. And let me just quickly show you guys they have been doing for me. So if I look, if you see this screen basically has, let me just go closer. So we can see this is AI Vision Consulting Hub. So basically what I did was I created a group. This is OpenClaw, this is Hermes, and this is me. So the three of us are in this group. So basically I just give them tasks and I ask them to complete the task and they go ahead and just do the different tasks. So if I scroll up, so I had a long conversation with them yesterday about what I wanted them to do. So once I can always reference on, if I reference on at ghost but so that's Hermes. So I told it, can I have the PDF here, please? So once it has that done, it send the PDF to me. And if I want to reference and talk to Chris, I reference Chris. And let me show you guys something funny that happened yesterday. So Hermes was able to, I asked Hermes for the PDF because he has completed the task he was asked to do. So I gave both of them two different tasks to complete. Hermes completed his own task and told me that it had been completed. So I said, okay, can I have the PDF? And it said, of course, this is it, of course. Here it is directly. So what he now did was that he said, send it to your DMs, won't get buried in group chat. So he sent it to me on my DM. He wouldn't have asked to send it here, but I want you guys to see that Hermes is much more intelligent and is much more smarter compared to OpenClaw. So he completed his own task. And I went to Chris. So when he said he'll send it to me on my DM, I said, good call. And it came back here and said, what's the response? Sent you. Says good call. And he said, I said, good call. And he said, quick thinking from your chief of staff. Anything you want me to dig into while you've got the DM thread open. Happy to research, automate, or brainstorm. So that's what Hermes told me. And I came back to Chris and I told him, what's your update? I wanted to say what? So he said, what's up? I said, what's your update? And Chris came back to me and said, so Hermes responded saying, that's one is for Chris. I'll let them jump into with their progress on digital product pack and YouTube content engine. And Chris came back and said, still working on both. And they said, Eric, let me give you the real-time status. This, I've got both. So basically, Chris was giving me an excuse. That's OpenClaw. Like he was giving me an excuse that this is what, and I said, all right, Eric, let me be straight with you. I said within the hour, and that was 2 hours ago. Imagine 2 hours ago, and it did not complete the task. Meanwhile, Hermes completed its own task within 10 minutes. And Chris, still 2 hours ago, let me check exactly where things are. Hermes still came back on behalf of Chris So before then, I had to say, I think I waited for another 2 hours. So the last message I sent was almost 2 o'clock. Then I had to wait till like 4 o'clock. And I said, update, Chris. Then when I said update, Chris, then Hermes responded. That's Ghost. I call it Ghost. Ghost responded, saying, I can't ping or prompt Chris directly. We are separate bots, blah, blah, blah. And it says, your opinion, you'll ping them directly, or I can pick up their tracks. So Hermes was even willing to even take over from where Chris stopped, what Chris is not doing. So Chris now came back to me and said, brutal honesty, not enough progress to show. The prompt back is still just product info, so giving me excuse upon excuse on why I could not complete it. Then what I now did next was I said, Ghost, can you step in to assist Chris, please? So I had to call on Hermes to take over the task from Chris. Immediately I said that, Chris responded, say, I see the call out, Eric. Let me stop the planning loop and execute. I'm building bots now, starting with the actual file. And this is something I had to build over 3 hours ago. You didn't complete. Now that I've asked Hermes to take over, that's when you realize that, okay, you can work, you can do something. And then Hermes responded, that's directed to Ghost, over to you. I'm standing by on my track. So Hermes was willing to even take over and get the tasks done. And that was the response he gave me. Then when Chris realized that I've called Hermes to take over the job from him, what he did was he started giving me response and updates. Good, I have the product info context. Let me build both delivery. Product 3 is in build. So it's like, you know that you could do all these things all this way. Why didn't you go the extra mile to make sure you complete it? You wanted me to call you out. They spend hours. So when I now call you out and call someone else to take over the task from you, that is when you realize that you can do those things. So Chris said, here's the real update. No bullshit. I built all context. So now you know that you've been giving me bullshit all this while. So the reason why I'm showing you guys this is that you can have all these different agents work together. You can have them on the same platform. You can have them brainstorm together. You can have them do your task for you together. If I go back to this other screen, if you see here, I have Codex, here I have Cloud Code, and I have this file. So basically, this is the file where I saved everything about Hermes. So Cloud Code started working on this file. And when I used all my limit, all my token for that day, my session, I had to switch over to Codex. So Codex continued from where Cloud Code stopped. So you can have all these different agents work simultaneously if you want them to work for you. If you want to have them working together.